afternoon, everybody. Here with you again is Dr. Kamal Kishore Sharma, and we are going to speak on a very, very important topic, how to stand out in the crowd. Remember that you are unique. We had the last session wherein we talked about self-leadership, and today we are talking about what and how of being unique in a crowd of people. That's what we all want to be. We want to be in the top 1% of the population in every parameter, don't we? In fact, there is a research, and multiple researchers has pointed out that the desire to be in the top has always been there with people. It's the ability and capability and what you do is what makes a difference. At the outset, I would wish all of you that you stay safe because it's a very difficult atmosphere out there. The humanity is going through one of the biggest challenges of mankind, and I really wish that all of you stay safe and keep the surroundings safe, and because we all are responsible for each other who are around us. Let's get on to the topic. Standing out in the crowd. The first question that comes to your mind is, where do you need to stand out? So there are two parts of a world. There's a known world and there's an unknown world. The known world consists of our families, our friends, relatives, the schools, the colleges that we visit, the universities that we go to, and then the workplace that we all are part of. You need to stand out at each one of these places. You would always wish and desire that somebody tells me, oh, well done, you are one of the best. You stand out in the crowd. And standing out in the crowd does not necessarily mean that people have to say that you stand out. Your performance talks about it. Your performance speaks about it. Your grades talk about it. Your growth at your workplace talks about it. That's the known world. People tend to do a lot of, or put in a lot of efforts to prime themselves up for a known world. The problem is, and according to me, and that is equally important, is the unknown world. The unknown future. We don't know where our journey is going to lead us to. Are we prepared for that? And to me, what you know about it, you can do a lot about it, but all those who are able to look deeper into the future and prepare themselves for the unknown, I think they stand out even larger and bigger than the others. So who stands out in a crowd? Let's imagine ourselves in situations where we are evaluators, we are amongst people, we are watching a movie, we are in an MBA class, we are amongst friends, we are at our workplaces, a cohort of similarly skilled people around you in social gatherings, at a sports game, or even these days, a fight against Corona. Look at who is being talked about. Who do you speak about? Who are the people who get the garlands? And who are the people who get the brickbats? Who are the people whom people adore, respect, love? And who are the people who are just people don't even talk about them? A sports game, if you're not a winner, you're nowhere. Social gatherings, it takes, in my life, there have been a lot of people, the senior people who have been telling me that it takes about a lifetime to build a respectful image and just one instance to lose that image. Remember that you're always in the eyes of people who are evaluating you for the good and bad that you are able to show. A movie is remembered for all the greatest performances, whether it's the music, it's the dialogue, it's the action, it's the direction, it's the actors, it's the surroundings, it's the locales. All that is good is going to be remembered. All that stands out is going to be remembered. In an MBA class, there'll be a class of 30, there's a class of 60, or there could be a class of 120. We all know who stands out, whether it's an MBA class or a chemistry class or let's say physics class. We know who are the people who stand out, not necessarily the people who get the highest marks. That I need to warn you about. It's about those people who show eagerness to learn, who ask questions in the class, relevant questions, yes, who discuss and debate on logic in the class. And normally, in almost 99% of cases, these traits also connect to good grades and good marks. These people stand out in a class. Amongst the friends, you want to be the person whom people love, respect. Are yaar, I am not able to start off a party because my friend Raj has not come. Now, suddenly it could also mean others might feel that, Are, we are all friends. How does it make a difference? Raj has not come, but somebody waiting for Raj. Remember that guy is standing out even while that person is not there in the crowd. You want that kind of a acceptance level from your friends. At workplaces, you want your boss to look for you. You want your colleagues to have confidence in you that let me go to Kamal and he will be able to solve all the problems. In a cohort of similar skilled people, look at the unlikelypoet.com. What do they say? They laugh at me because I am different, and I laugh at them because they are all the same. In a cohort of similar skilled people, who is the person who is going to get mentioned, who is going to get the business, who is going to get the call, the approbation, the certificates, the growth, the trainings, the promotion? You said it. In social gatherings, in a sports game. So we know the people who stand out. We want to be one of them. The first question you need to answer, do you want to be one of them? Last slide will answer this question. You don't want to be one of them. So let's now, next few slides will be a slide of stories and some ways in which I have done my research to put together some of the ways in which we could actually stand out in the crowd. It applies to each one of you if you have a similar context, and we will try to pick up these links through stories. The first thing is I pick up from the last class that we talked about was self-leadership. Now you need to be self-aware. What does it mean? Self-awareness is about knowing not only your strengths, but weaknesses. That's more important. I also talked about that who are the best friends. The best friends are those who help you improve, become better than what you were yesterday. It could connect to anything, the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you comment, the point at which you speak or don't speak, all of those come. So learn from the feedback that you get from people. That kind of a feedback is more important. That helps you address some of your shortcomings. That's the way. I mean, you don't want people to say, Are, he doesn't know how to speak. He doesn't know how to behave when people are there. He just comes like, he's just got up from the bed. Okay, you don't speak about, even in the movies, if you look around, there are polls and observations on who are the worst dressed and the best dressed. Now, that's a showbiz business. It connects with how people look to the public. But in the normal life also, you just can't go to a formal place in a very informal attire. That's a great misfit. So somebody needs to tell you, you might think that it's okay, it's fine, it's normal, it's a modern world. But you have to connect to the context. It just doesn't mean that what suits you or what do you feel. It also should suit the context. It should also mean respect for the other people who are there at that point of time. So addressing is not necessarily reflecting only your point of view. It also reflects the places that you connect to. Be a good communicator. I often, in my motivational speeches, we talk about what are the 3 skills in life that can get you any kind of job or a success or a person whom people admire. It all starts from there. Then you start building through your knowledge, through your career moves and other things in order to make a successful career. But, some ways in which people actually segregate hygiene factors and motivators at workplace. Hygiene factors are those that must be there, without which people may not even join the organization. And motivation factors are those after the hygiene factors are there. What are the things that connects you to doing more good, performing better? Those are motivators. To me, for a life of you, for a life of us or anybody person, the hygiene factors with which they must live and pass their time, grow, spend their time on are those 3 skills are read, speak, and write. Such a simple set of explanation. There's no rocket science in trying to understand that if you can't read, you can't get the vocabulary. If you don't read and see the words and grammar getting used in a context, you can never speak a very good sentence of any language. I'm not only talking about English. If you don't write, you don't organize your thought. You don't practice to organize your thoughts. And that's extremely important, because then what happens is you just speak a few words and then think that you have spoken what is required to. No, the life is about explanation. It's about understanding. You just can't stop at understanding one word. You have to understand the meaning of the sentence and the context. And that also comes after when you try to speak and you're yourself able to do that. Read, speak, and write. Most important skills in life. If you are a voracious reader, relevant reading, not just WhatsApp reading. If you are a good speaker, people recognize you for, here comes somebody who will now enthrall me, whom I would love to listen to. And you do, make very good remarks about people who write very well in newspapers any day, or you yourself would get a feedback on if you are writing well, you are getting very good grades in class, and you are so-called a successful student. These 3 are not complete without knowledge. Knowledge of a specific context where you want to make a vocation of your life. So, for example, if you're getting into retail, or if you're getting into business, or let's say you're getting into jewelry business, or you're getting into real estate or anything, you need to know about that, don't you? If you don't know about it, what will you speak and what will you write and what will you read? You may be reading a lot, you may be speaking a lot, but if you're concentrated on the things that you want to do in life, that you want to specialize in life, then it has to be relevant, and it has to be that kind of a knowledge base which makes your reading, writing, and speaking more effective. I am here because I'm able to speak to you on these. I'm sure you would recognize that. The third one is being conscious. I've seen often people do not respect time. You make a commitment, I will be there at such and such time, and then you start speaking about, nobody comes on time. This is Indian Standard Time. So why do I need to, be so bothered? The day you start thinking about it, you will never be on time. It's almost like, let me take an example. It might sound hilarious to you, but it all starts with the first day when you don't wear a helmet and the police doesn't catch you. After that, you will never have the reason for wearing a helmet or something. Or it's about, a platform ticket at a railway station. The day you don't get caught, then you start making your calculations of how many times if I don't buy it, and then when I get caught, what kind of penalties, and then you start making that return cost return ratios. There's no fun in doing that in life. No fun in doing that in life. If you want to be known for a person who respects your time, you will also be known for you respect others' time. Imagine that when you come, when a professor says, I want, if there are 40 students in my class, I want all 40 students by 10 o'clock, if my class starts at 10 o'clock. And then if one student comes late by 1 minute, professor has a choice. He can close the door. But if that one student comes late and then after the professor starts the class, we have effectively that one boy has wasted 39 minutes of the class. 39 means the other 39 students losing 1 minute each. Isn't it the highest level of disrespect to your colleagues? You don't value their time? Is it only your time that is valuable? The world of corporate discipline, it all starts there. If you're not there for 3 consecutive days and not putting your finger bioprint, your half-day leave is gone, and then there are other rules and regulations. You start actually learning at that point of time what is the value of being disciplined. But it's not just about being disciplined. It's about a commitment that you make, and are you known to meet your commitments? That will stand out in the crowd, not just purely discipline. Let's go on to the next one. Be confident. Now, if I don't sound confident, I will not be able to click. I will not be able to say the next sentence. I will not be able to remember the context that I want to bring with examples. Confidence is infectious. If you see somebody around with a lot of confidence, there's a lot of energy around that person. You're not afraid of obstacles. Because you are confident, you can make impossible things happen. Imagine going to an interview for a dream job. You have everything to lose if you don't have confidence. But remember that when you are entering that room for the interview, there is no switch that you put on that right this point onwards, I will be confident. Confidence is a habit that you have to prepare yourself for these occasions when it is a make or break decisions for life, careers, and other things. You just can't switch on and off your behavior, your personality, your confidence levels. You have to prepare yourself over a period of time, and that doesn't happen in a day. And it connects. When I'm saying all these points, they are all interconnected. So if you are a great speaker, orator, writer, you naturally would generate confidence in yourself and the people around you. Another thing I have often observed that people who do not listen properly, others don't like to speak to them, don't like to talk to them. They bring preconceived notions. Oh, this guy will not listen to me. Or he just makes such faces as if, he doesn't need to listen to me. Why should I speak in front of him? And when the communication, two-way communications are always two ways, okay? So when this two-way communication, one side switches off, the communication never happens. Only talking happens. Only speaking happens. The communication is never understood in that context. Imagine student in a class. If you do not have that habit of listening attentively, you will not think, you will not ask questions, you will not take part in the discussions in the class. And when the professor asks you something or the teacher asks you something, you will be blank. Yes, sir? Sir, sorry, sir. Do you want to be in such situations? A good listener, definitely, to me, a good listener definitely stands out because it signals respect for the other people who makes a speech, and it also leads to the confidence and the knowledge that you need to have about anything because you have listened to that properly. Next is about emotional intelligence. We talked about in the last class of self-leadership that many MBA and we talked about emotional intelligence. See, I'm sure we are, in number of social situations, whether it's a class or a family gathering or somewhere, we do talk about people. This guy is more mature. He knows how to behave. Okay? He controls himself very well. Okay? Even if he is very angry, he doesn't let that show. Okay? So such kind of impact happens only if we know how to control our emotions. Well, I'm not saying that, if you want to cry, don't cry. Or if you want to laugh, you don't laugh. No, I'm not saying that. It's about when you want to laugh, it should not be a tiye ki baitak. As simple as that. You have to see the context in which you are wanting to show emotions. Your emotion has to fit the context in which you are in, and you should know how to control it. When you see who are the most respected stars or movie stars, to my mind, Irfan Khan, the late Irfan Khan or Manoj Bajpayee, these guys are known for their prowess of acting. And what's all that? They know exactly what emotions to show that fit a certain context. And we also know all those kind of loud actors about whom we could easily say that don't even know ABC of acting. That's what I'm talking about. Controlling of emotions in group circumstances where you are in a context is extremely important. Could we take a break and don't go away? I mean, interesting things are coming in, and we are going to soon finish in 15 minutes my speech. This time, I'm going to spend more time on questions and answers. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to this interesting session of stories around how to stand out in a crowd. So we were discussing how some of the things in usual life, they are not all rocket science. In usual life, you can get to practice these and you can stand out in the crowd. The next thing I want to talk about is be responsible. Be the kind of person who responds in time. I remember when I was in Gurgaon as a vice chancellor of one of the universities there, we were looking to have a school admission for my daughter. Now, Gurgaon has a number of very popular schools, and one of the schools which was more popular, that was DPS in a certain sector, and I wrote an email at about 8:30 p.m. in the night to the principal. I got the principal's email ID, and I just wrote. That was my first communication with her, and it was late at 8:30 p.m., so I thought that I will not disturb her. And within 1 minute came her reply. And she showed me the way to take this discussion further. Suddenly, after 1 hour or so after discussion with my wife, I thought that I'll put another question to her, and she may want to reply when she comes to office the next day. And that was about 10 p.m. And within 1 minute, again comes a reply which gives me the answer to that question. Now, there are two ways to look at it. One is, why should a responsible person of a very good school, a principal of that school, should be wanting to do that? She can easily say, or not even say, she can easily do that the next day when the office opens. But she feels, I later on came to know more about that lady, but she feels for the trauma of the parents who are looking for admissions when they move in. Because Gurgaon is that kind of a place where a lot of people come and go, and hence midterm admissions and all those issues are very commonplace. That day I developed an impression about that woman, and later on I came to know she is known for such quick replies and respect to the parents. Now, she stands out amongst hundreds of principals in those. I'm sure I would have written to at least 6, 7 different schools and principals, and the kind of experiences that I have, I can easily remember this particular principal who responded in time. So if you are a person from whom somebody is expecting a reply, it depends on you. You want to be exactly when that expected reply has to go. You want to do it at leisure, but don't wait for the next day. All these choices you have to make. But remember that those people, it's a difficult choice. I'm sure you understand that. It might ask for you to be always alert, always alert. But since that was her official email ID, so she probably had made up her mind that if there is an official email ID somebody is wanting to reach out to, that question must be difficult and wanted to be replied to as soon as possible. And so she made a choice. Now you can make a choice, out of maybe 100 WhatsApp groups, which are the groups you must go and visit once or twice in a day? Which are the groups where you must reply if somebody is looking for or some discussion is going on? Which are the emails you want to, these days, there's a lot of possibilities of how do you manage your emails and all, so that you don't miss out on important mails to be replied back in time. Most people don't follow up. Follow-up is another thing. Once you have reached out to somebody and there is some reply that has come, the first level of follow-up is to say thanks. 90% plus people don't even do that, as if it was their right to know that information. You never stand out if you fail in saying thanks on time. You never stand out in a crowd if you fail to say sorry in time. Next issue, and that's very important, leading with excellence. It's not about just getting the work done. It's about the manner in which you've got done. So there are two ways when I talk about manner. One is the process you follow, the speed of the process, the carefulness of the process. So then the output may be desired or not desired. And second is about the output itself. I want the best quality of speech. For example, Narendra Modi would never stop short of going through at least 2 times, 3 times his Man Ki Baat program, where he exactly wants to touch the minds of the people. How do you touch them? Or whether it's Rahul or whether it's anybody else in the political domain, the speech writers, if they don't write well, they will be kicked out in a day. And so there's a lot of pressure on them. Similarly, in a workplace situation, your boss always wants you to be the best, to contribute in the best possible manner. Your own parents want you to be the best kid, the best student. Your friends want you to be the best resourceful person. How do you do all that? How do you drive that? I want the best. I am not comfortable with average. I am not comfortable with mediocrity. I am not comfortable with just getting to do things in any manner. I want to get things done. I want to see the output. I want to see the behaviors. I want to see the relationships developing in the best possible manner. So it all starts with you then. How you conduct yourself. So you give signals to people whether this guy is going to accept only good and very good things, or he is going to accept anything. And when he is going to accept anything, you just go to, there are lots of actually marketing advertisements where somebody goes to buy a certain toothpaste or a certain soap, and they use this that, don't give me any soap, give me the best soap, and then they start the advertisement or whatever. They utilize this propensity of people to just buy anything, do anything, get anything done, theek ho jayega, and all that stuff. There are people who are not comfortable with when things do not happen in the right manner. And so for that, you yourself have to give those signals that you should be known for doing excellent things. You should be known for speaking excellently. You should be known for behaving excellently. You should be known for getting the work done of the best possible. I'm not talking about best. There is nothing called best, but best possible output, you should be known for that you prefer those. And that's important. You can stand out in the crowd. Next is about you have to be a consistent performer. And we have seen often in the games of cricket or any other game, basketball, some of the world famous games, football, if you're not consistent, you are not there. So even a Sachin or a Saurabh or a Yuvraj Singh have had their times when people were shouting against them. They were actually, there was a dharna outside Mahendra Singh Dhoni's residence in Ranchi when he was going through a bad patch. You don't get recognized for excellence in certain times. You get recognized for consistency of that excellence. Remember that. Then only you stand out. So be your best possible. The difference is between whether you want to be that average 99% guy or you want to be that excellent with a great career, those 1% of people who can boast of. Another way to stand out is, when you are of value to service to people around. So they can, any problem kind of they have in mind, they could come to you and say, sir, can you help me? Please, can you help me? The help may not always be in cash. It's more often than not, it's a few words of caution, a few words of wisdom, a few words of consolation, a few moments of being together. Maybe you can give some references to some of the people to get that work done or get that problem addressed. Look around in life, you would see, you would be knowing and you'd be having a list of people whom you can reach out to when you are in need. So you remember that, most often the thing that, appeals to you and feels good to you is when somebody says, "Koi problem ho to batana. If I can help you in any way, do not hesitate." Now, these are, once you say that, you should mean that that's important. But even when you say and somebody does not have a need, you have made a mark that you've at least made yourself available to that person for help just in case of need. And such people are really respected. Such people are really loved. Those people who are always there when somebody has a problem or a trouble, he would be in touch, he would pick up the phone often and then, talk to that person to find out if something more can be done. Such people clearly stand out, whether it's a friend or a relative or even at workplaces, a colleague or anybody. Those people whom you feel that these people are there when I have a trouble, those people stand out everywhere. You have to be a great team player. These days, man is a social animal and all workplaces require the collaboration of the teams to work together. So if you do not fit in a team, you fit nowhere. Simple. So whether it's a class in which you have to do some project, group project or group research or group assignment, or a workplace where almost everybody is contributing based on what is expected of them. If you cannot collaborate with people around you, teams around you, the friends or colleagues around you, there is something really wrong in that. And the place to develop all of that is more often than not, in fact, an MBA education, management education is all about creating those situations in the class and letting people know how important it is to collaborate, to work in a group. And Taxila Business School is very, very focused on developing and giving these chances to students who lack this skill. And we specifically create circumstances for them to develop that skill. Being unique and different automatically attracts attention. Not everybody can boast of. For example, in a class of 40 students, if somebody knows how to play violin, he'll always, it's not necessary that every time people will ask him to play violin or something, but he will develop a certain corner of appreciation in everybody's mind that this guy knows something different. He's different. He understands art. He understands culture. He loves performance. And music is not something which can be actually excelled by an average guy. So you have made a mark. So uniqueness can come with performing arts. Uniqueness can come with sports. Uniqueness can come with specific skills. These days, computer skills are quite in demand. You could be actually, a person who knows a certain language best, or maybe you are a very good hacker. So there are lakhs of computer engineers, but there are only few hackers, ethical hackers. I remember of a case where in Kazakhstan, in the steel company that we were working, there was a guy who always consistently refused promotion because promotion would have led to his taking up another job, which he did not want to. And why was he focusing on the job that he wanted to? Because in the last 20 years of his career, he had developed such strong networks everywhere. So even if there was a requirement of a specific high tensile nut board, he would get it from Slovakia or maybe from Iceland, wherever this is. So he would, for every product, he would have developed a database of let's say 10, 20, 30 suppliers. And people knew him by his word that, if we supply to him because it's emergency, even without advance, even without payment, they would ensure that the goods first come, and he will ensure. Sometimes it might have happened that he might have paid from his own pocket, but that's the kind of uniqueness which people create as a value around them. What good are you known for? What unique are you known for? You will stand out in the crowd. There are a lot of people who invest in their networks subconsciously. But there are people who consciously invest in their network. If there's one person, I don't have to look very far. In my life, I might have about 13,000 LinkedIn contacts. And if I had been accepting all the Facebook requests, it might have gone to 20, 30,000. I have spent a lot of time in developing that cohort, in developing that network. I've been communicating with all of them, whether it is about just one sentence or once in a year, kind of a happy birthday or something. But it takes time. You have to understand that you are doing it without any anticipation of what could come back. So everybody wants to evaluate their time spent because this is one life. And you only have a few moments that you can spend on every friend if you're talking about 13,000, 15,000 friends. But then what my way of looking at this investment is, you never know in life what can come back at you. But you definitely know if you've done good and if you've not rubbed on the wrong side of people, something good will happen to you at a future. So invest in networks. Those people who have extremely good networks stand out in the crowd. Next, I have seen often people stop themselves in saying sorry, or stop themselves in saying, that's good, that's excellent, well done. Now, these are words, they should always be at the tip of your tongue. Somebody who feels that you have done something wrong, he is not expecting a sorry, but if you say sorry, you have created an impression this person realizes his mistake. Important, very important in life. The other way to look at it is whether if somebody has done good, for example, if the cameraman behind the screen, they've done a great job, it's my responsibility to tell them that you've done a good job. The output has to be good because they have been doing this for a very, very long time. If I fail to say you've done a good job, then there is something wrong in me, not him. People do every work to the best of their capabilities, but you need people who stand out in the crowd to push them, to make them feel even better. And that's something that you must never lose an opportunity of, to distribute credits and take blame irrespective of whose fault it is. You never lose out anything in saying sorry. The last slide here, and the quite important things that they came up in my mind late in the night yesterday, that a lot of people look for an easy work. So when you look around how people apply for jobs, more than 50% of them, I'm just hazarding a number, but more than 50% of them would be saying that I'm busy preparing for competitive examinations for civil service, for state services, for all other services. And then there are people who consciously are preparing to develop some skills and some knowledge. And when you go deep into why there is a preference for a government job, in 9 out of 10 cases, the factors that people count as important are security of job, 9 to 5, all government facilities at your doorstep. Nobody can fire me. In fact, I would have advised, always keep a fire at your back. That never lets you sit down. The problem there, when you put all of them in some kind of analysis, what comes out clearly is people look for more comfort than less comfort. People want to increase their comfort levels without actually wanting to go hard at it or work very hard for it. Everybody wants to get rich quick. Pick up the newspaper and you find that there are a lot of advertisements which want to promise that I'll make you quickly very rich. My point here I'm trying to make is you will not be known for something stupid that you do. You will not be known for something average that you do, because that's being done by 99% of the people. You'll be known for what challenge you are ready to accept and what good you have done to a challenge to which others could not do much. Look for challenges. Come out of your comfort zone. That's important. You will stand out definitely in the crowd. Be inspirational. Look at Azim Premji or Bill Gates. 90% of their wealth they have bequeathed. They've said that it will all be used for a public purpose. It takes some guts. I remember having heard or read a story about a few years back. Now I don't even remember the context and anything. But that story goes around a person who has worked for 60 years. He's retired. And after retirement, he's spending 90% of his post-retirement pension in doing something good. And that good, I don't exactly remember. So good for the society, not for himself. Now remember that it takes guts to be at that level of doing something inspirational. It takes guts. I'm not saying that everybody should be getting into that 90% bequeathing, but do something very good. It will make you feel always energized from within that you really earned your life. How do you do that? Find out a very good cause. Everybody wants to identify with good causes around. Find out your good cause and create an inspiration around you that will create a new level of energy with people who talk with you. And ensure that, when I've talked about, in these 4 or 5 slides, we have talked about some 10, 12 ways in which, and they're not very difficult ways in which we could actually stand out. But one thing that I want you to leave your mind with is consistency. You just can't be excellent at one point of time and poor at the next point of time. All the good image, respect, anything that you earn at one point can easily be washed away by just one moment of poor performance in your life. So you can't expect that, you got 90% plus in 10th or 12th, and that is the reason why an MNC should recruit you. It's about how consistently you have shown your performance, and in life, that consistency is extremely important. I've gone through thousands of recruitment interviews, and I've gone through thousands of MBA admission interviews. The first thing we look at is how consistently this person has performed through his life. And if there is a poor performance, I'm sure nobody bothers about poor performance if there is a logic or there's a reason behind it, because the other excellent performances are there pre and post. So in between that, if there's a poor, for example, in 10th you would be 95%, in 12th you could be 62%, and in graduation once again you are in the 70s and 80s. So obviously there would have been something wrong, either disinterest or some clearly bad happening in the family, or your health, or anything that might have been the reason of the poor performance. Then consistency. If you are consistent, then a poor performance can be hidden behind consistency. And nobody is perfect in life. And to that extent, everybody would commit mistake one or the other time. But if you are consistent, people will not focus on your mistakes, but people will focus on your next success. So the question that last came to my mind is, if you do not stand out in the crowd, then where are you? Think about it. If you are not there in the few people who get identified, yes, this is the man, this is the boy, this is the girl. If you're not in those sentences, where are you? So I was thinking of what number to discuss with you. Then I came about this income distribution. One graph that I've just quoted here is an SOCM graph. So there is a credibility behind this graph that in 2015-16, it talks about average personal income of people. And if you see that 99% of people had an average salary of below 6 lakhs. Below 6 lakhs means 50,000. At Taxila Business School, our minimum salary in the last 2-3 years has been 6.7 lakhs. Put that in perspective. What we are creating here is nurturing those 1% of the population of students who would fall in the 1% of the Indian earning category, who can lead a good life. A good life does not always mean the best of everything. A good life just about meets your expectations from what is a comfortable life. Otherwise, you are destined for an average life. In a world full of game players, the only way you set up yourself apart is by being a game changer. Come out of your comfort zones. That's the only way to make you stand out in the crowd. Thank you very much. This part of the webinar, this mini MBA webinar, is about what I wanted to speak. But now I want to spend a very good time, because all the earlier mini MBAs that we have done, we have been asked for more and more questions to be addressed. And so today I'm going to spend that much more time over there. All right. Okay. Let's get on to the questions, please. Excuse me. Naveen is asking, which are the few skills which make your CV stand out in a B school? Okay, so CV for a B school and CV when you come out of a B school are two different CVs. That you must keep in mind. So CV before coming to the B school is about your communication abilities and your good performance over the academics in class 10th, 12th, and graduation. And preferably, if you have had even 1 year of or even 6 months of work experience, because it is very commonplace in MBA world that we have seen is that those people who have worked who have some work experience of being in groups and being in workplaces, they tend to understand a lot of aspects in the class much better than those who have not worked. So if these are the few things, and plus good communication, because an MBA wants the communication level to be a notch higher, and because you need to work in groups, you need to discuss, you need to make an opinion, you need to defend yourself. There are a lot of presentations and a lot of group work assignments that require your good communication skills. And that's important, extremely important. But let's say if you're talking about what few skills which make a CV stand out after you complete a B school are some of the things that Taxila Business School actually is very serious about. One is your ability to do hard work. How do you demonstrate that? I'm sure when you claim that you are capable of doing hard work, the interviewer would also want to know, how do you explain that you are capable of doing hard work? Number one. Number two, when you say you're a good team player, if you've worked at workplaces and from there you can pick up instances to display that you have been very good in teams and performances over there, that's good. But if you have not been able to do that, if you only have the college atmosphere, then what did MBA teach you in terms of working in groups? That's an extremely important thing to do. There are a number of activities that an MBA school does, apart from all the activities in co-curricular, the curricular activities within groups. There are many co-curricular activities also where your group skills are getting polished, and that's important. Then your communication skill. Now, if before coming to MBA, your communication skills should have been, in a scale of 0 to 100, wherever it is, you should have a few and multiple notches higher level of communication skills. The confidence with which you approach now, confidence is not something that you can write on the CV, but on the skill side of it, the group leadership, the leadership situations in which you worked, the hard work that you can bring on table, and the skills that you have learned. For the market today, business analytics as a set of skills in any function that you specialize, if you say that I will be able to handle business data and the behavior of that data, irrespective of the function that you want to get into, you have a much higher standout force. You clearly belong to a different class of people who can perform better. So please remember those things work very well on your CV. Okay, Pooja. So my question is that how can we create an impact in GDS? I'm a CAT aspirant. I know the topic is based on professional space, but as we are discussing how to create impact, I'd like to know how to do that in a stressful environment where everyone wants to speak, how to ensure I'm heard as well. One is your communication skills. I just it starts there and sometimes ends there. The communication skills, it does not mean your ability to just speak one sentence. Communication skills is about forming an opinion, defending it, and probably on the spot thinking when somebody makes a point, how do you counter that point or how do you add on to that point? All of those are important part of communication skills. That comes with vocabulary, that comes with knowledge, not necessarily expert knowledge, but general knowledge that you can get through reading newspapers and being abreast with what latest is happening. That communication is the starting point. Then often people talk about that, I should lead in a group discussion so that I get a chance to start and I get a chance to end. Remember that you are treading into difficult waters. Often people who jump into a discussion to think that let me be the leader for this group discussion and I will lead the entire group discussion towards the end, there are other people sitting in the same room. Please remember that everybody wants to do that. So the shout, the problem might start at the starting point itself. And when things don't go as you desire, then you lose your confidence for that group discussion. So I'm sure you guys would have realized this in your mock group discussion. So it's not necessary. So you have to have that level of confidence to be able to steer a discussion right from start to end. You have to have points on almost opinions on almost everything that other people speak about. That's an ideal, perfect group discussion, but 99% are not like that. So wait for your moment, but have a substantial point to make. You can't survive if you're nervous. You have to be confident in communication and wait for a strong point to be made. Now, often, I just, while speaking, I'm always aware of what other things might come in. So one big thing that comes in is you wanted to speak on a certain point, but somebody else has already spoken on that. Now, how do you take part in the group discussion? So you should, to me, if you're not able to think of anything unique, then there is a problem. Obviously, you are short on general knowledge and other things, but give due cognizance to somebody who has spoken and pick out certain things from that statement which you may want to elaborate. And don't feel sorry for things that you do not know. It's the confidence that counts. People are not checking their your ability, to show knowledge. It's your ability to counter stressful situations and show your ability to communicate well. These are the two big things that people are worried about. So don't jump into taking leadership and all of that. Wait for a moment and think about a proper point that you can make. That is the clincher and good communication. Yes. How can we showcase ourselves to be different in an interview without being sounding boastful, overconfident, or explicitly stating it? Okay, so that's a huge question, very big question, very large question. It includes almost everything that one could discuss about an interview. But nevertheless, Praveen, it's a good question. You don't want to sound overconfident. So don't sound overconfident. Speak only that thing that you know. If you don't know certain things, there are ways to say you don't know. You don't say that I don't know this, I'm sorry. You could say that, I have not thought about this question from that direction, or I have not read enough, or I cannot recollect enough on this point of view, because, I've read many other things, but it might have missed my attention or something like that. You don't say that I don't know, but you could also say, I vaguely remember that I have read about it, but moment I, get the chance to read that again, it will all be fresh in my mind. It's the confidence with which you say, I don't know, and the words that you use is itself a very good answer. So being overconfident is like it shows in your body language that body language should be in control. You should not be loud. So loud also signals overconfidence, that the pitch of the voice should be normal. You should not cut down on when the interviewer is asking something as if you are telling him, no, you don't know the question. Let me tell you the question to ask to me. No, don't sound all of that. Be a normal person as if you're talking to a friend. You don't lose out anything on experimenting that, I tell you. Be a normal person as if somebody is doing a conversation. The interviewer might create stressful situations for you because that might be part of their interview process. They might create stressful situation for you. And there are greater chances that if you want to display overconfidence, you will go wrong in a stressful situation, because confidence is something that is a feeling that you want to show, but a stressful situation is an exact situation which wants to be addressed, and that situation has been created by the interviewer. So being overconfident doesn't serve you, and there are ways and means to find out how not to look or sound overconfident. If you don't know anything, there are ways to say, I don't know. Okay, all right, Ankita. Is there any connection between believing in oneself and standing out? Oh, there's a huge connection, Ankita. I'm glad you're asking this question because it all starts with you. It's you who are what you are. And it's you who wants to be standing out in the crowd. So if you don't believe in yourself, if you are not confident, this will not give you confidence. If you don't believe in yourself, you will not be very good at some of the skills that I talked about. If you don't believe in yourself, you will not be appropriately responding to situations. You will not be able to manage your emotions well. You will sound as if a less mature person. People may say, okay, lagta hai, she knows something, but not necessarily she knows actually at the back end. Jo thotha chana baje ghana and all that stuff that you could that you could think of. Remember that if you don't believe in yourself, you will not be confident, and if you're not confident, you will not stand out. Simple. And so all other things, whether it's respect, emotions, knowledge, writing, reading, speaking skills, all of that is a part of how much do you believe in yourself. And all of that is a part of how you stand out in the crowd. Shejin Alex Verghese. Sir, please let us know about a few books that might have been a part of your research on these topics. Okay, I'll let you know. Just note down, my colleagues are noting down the points and we will let you know. Benita Roy, are the roles offered to a fresher and the ones who has 2+6 years same after completing the B school? Definitely not, Benita. Even the recruiter understands that if they are getting a 2-year experienced guy in a start role, that person will in no time leave the organization. People don't hire to prepare them to leave the organization. Remember that. People hire the candidates so that they can contribute. They are satisfied. They are motivated. And if you do not give them their due of having worked for 2 years and still recruiting them for a startup role or start role, there is something wrong in the recruitment process. Generally, respected companies do not do that. They give you a one-notch higher profile depending on your experience set. So don't worry about that. If you are experienced, you will definitely be above a starting role. Mohammad Intizar Alam, what is the role of digital marketing in MBA course? Is this right time to take admission in B school? We are suffering from tough situation. The second question we will deal in a mini MBA, which we are going to come out soon with. But I want to give an advance information. My way of thinking is there was never a better time to spend time and complete your MBA, because these are very difficult times and very difficult times for companies in the sector that was doing the best. In fact, the stock market saw their stocks rising 2 times, 3 times, were IT and infrastructure, and within infrastructure, steel companies. And today, suddenly, all the steel plants have to stop production because the oxygen needs to be made available for the hospitals. So there are pressures of all kinds during this situation, and you will never be able to get the right opportunity to get hired. So why not spend time in building that opportunity, in building that skills? So there was never a right time, better time to do an MBA than at this point of time. What is the role of digital marketing? Well, that's a specialized subject, but since almost every place, everything is generating data. What I'm talking here is generating data with all the people that who are listening to me. You go out in the market, there is data being collected everywhere, and it's all a social media driven world now. In fact, the businesses are moving from brick and mortar to online mediums, wherein there's a lot of data analytics happening behind to be able to find the right person to whom you can sell an idea or a product. And all of that, since it's a COVID-infested world for the last 1.5 years, and even in the near future, I'm not looking at a very different world. It's going to be more and more online ways of working, reaching out to customers, selling, as a process, and hence, you have to find out ways to reach out to the right customer, and that is where digital marketing fits in. So it's a subject that has gathered increasingly more importance in the last few years as the world gets into more and more social media ways of communications. All right, Pooja, thank you so much. Okay, all right, my pleasure. Naveen, thank you. Okay, Sapna, the part-time MBA will be better for experienced people. Not necessarily, Sapna. I'll tell you, quite a number of CVs that I have seen across to hire for different companies, including startups, is more about segregating people who have done education through distance media. So that's definitely rated much lower than a regular course. There's no rocket science there. That's the bottom line. But what can happen is, if you are doing a course through distance medium, but having utilized that time in doing something great to acquire experience in the market, or done something great in terms of performance in the market, your performance will speak. And then the distance mode education will take a backseat. But if there is a situation where there are equally good number of experienced people, but one person has done regular MBA and one person has done a distance MBA, the regular MBA will get a preference. So that's a short and sweet answer for that. Do you have part-time MBA option? We do not have a part-time MBA option, but we will be launching short period executive development courses for a few weeks to about 2-3 months, and that would be enough for some of you who cannot spend that much time, and so you have to wait for that. We are in the process of designing those interventions. Okay, Sarika, is it hard for non-experienced people? No, Sarika, it's not hard. See, remember that there is a thing called preference. This is always there. When you go out in the market, you'll prefer a certain shoe over certain other shoe. You'll prefer a certain bank over some other bank. You'll prefer a certain juice corner over some other juice corner, or a chai thadi over some other chai thadi. I mean, there's always a preference. The MBA colleges, institutions know that the experienced people, they will be able to place at a better salary in the market, number one. Number two, experienced people bring a lot of depth and intelligence in class discussions, so it increases the quality of discussions in the class, and it helps other students in the class who are not experienced. And three is about that, they are able to grasp some of the issues which people can only imagine. But since these people have worked, they have worked in group atmosphere and pressure atmospheres, they are able to learn some of the issues that we teach in the class much faster. So a business school will have a preference towards experienced people, but the non-experienced people does not mean that they are less in favor. Obviously, there are a lot more seats and good colleges and good seats available for people from experienced or non-experienced background. So you would definitely get a seat to do an MBA. That's not a problem. But if even IIMs, most of the IIMs have a preference for experienced candidates. So there you are. So if you have it, you are good. But if you don't have it, you will still get to do your MBA. Do it properly. That's what will mean value for you. So how to answer introduce yourself question to stand different from others? Tripti is a beautiful question. Actually, I so often than not I have answered this question, and I always think of how differently can I answer this. So introduce yourself does not have to begin with. A few don'ts I can tell you. Do's also I will figure out. I mean, talk something about it. So the don'ts are, it should not start with, my name is Kamal Kishore Sharma. I am Director General at Taxila Business School. I'm blah, blah, blah. I did my class 10th there, class 12th from here, then graduation and so on, post-graduation and Vice Chancellor and CEO and all that stuff. No, all of that is already written on your CV. So if the short answer to this question is, we can go on discussing on this answer. There are the hundreds of ways in which you could answer this question. The best I have liked over the years is when somebody doesn't speak from the CV, but he speaks about some things that I don't know from the CV. Because one person could say, my friends consider me as a very friendly person, as a very talkative person, as a go-to person. My teachers have always told me that, you're a person to whom I love to speak to. Imagine, you don't write these things on your CV. I'm a go-getter, okay? I'm a stickler for, excellence. Some of these things you don't write over there. My friends make me believe that I have great leadership skills. So Pat will come a question next year. So describe a few situations. So you are taking the interviewer also in the direction in which you want to answer these questions. Describe yourself, introduce yourself. Who is Kamal? A lot of questions fall in the same realm. And they should never start with saying, my name is so-and-so. It should start with all the things that are not written on your CV. The way you frame that answer, you do your homework to write down how would you respond to and talk about yourself, which is not written on the CV. So that's a better answer that I could think of. You can always point to what is written on the CV when you describe yourself. So during my days in my engineering college, I was part of 2 committees where I was driving almost everything. That is where I realized that how could I get along very well with people. You have used the reference of your engineering to tell that I am a great leader, I'm a good leader, or whatever you want to say. So that's what I would say should be a good answer to introduce yourself, kind of. All right, Tripti, some other day, some more answers on this. Shivam, how does Taxila fill the gap of on-campus classes to virtual classes? Because peer-to-peer learning along with professors will build a different person from one learning from virtual classes. Shivam, you've touched a raw nerve. I'm glad that you bring up this point. I'm myself, very disturbed at the very low efficiency of online classes. Very low learning value of online classes. The attention span, the concentration on what is to be taught in an online class never gets through because of these reasons of the students. When you are in a non-connected setting, that is a household where people or kids are running around or something else is happening, versus a classroom environment where the entire focus is on the faculty and the board and the books, that can never, the online medium can never replace the efficiency of an offline class. So I am peeved. I'm sad at the opportunity that was lost for at least 1 year, and now we see a few more months, and maybe another 1 or 2 months down the line, things will be back to class. Till that time, I feel sorry for those who could not get maximum learning out of an offline class. Having said that, how Taxila Business School does it is, our ways of engagement with students are at multiple levels. We ask them to keep reading and writing, So they have to write what they learn in the class at least 3-4 times. Whether it's a review of what they learned in the class, then through assignments and group work, then even the examination process. At that time, you have to submit your summary of what are the things that you learned and how could you apply in a context, and then the written examinations, viva and other things. So what happens is that this rigor of getting you through multiple times the subjects makes you read and learn. It's much easier when you are in an atmosphere inside the institution, because you have a library, you have a classroom, you have groups, and you have study rooms and all where you could get together. But the pressure that we create, the rigor that we create around students, it's important. Remember that, don't run away from this. That if you want to do an easy MBA, there are 95% of MBAs which are there in general state universities and other places where you could get an MBA without any pressure on you. Take that degree, go out in the world, and you'll find out for yourself what value is that degree. MBA doesn't teach you a standard or the best way of doing things. It teaches you a process of thinking. It teaches you how to read some situation, unstructured situation, and make some sense out of it. What to do, because there is no guidebook which tells you if the situation is this, do this, this, this. You have to generate the options. How do you generate options? Unless you have learned about what are the things that impact. The overall management in different subjects makes you understand the central business concept of how things happen. And then you apply your mind to think and create options. That's what the MBA teaches you. It doesn't teach you the best way of doing things. MBA gives you an experience to learn from. MBA gives you a perspective from which to learn. And that's important. And that is best done in an offline class. We try to do a lot, but since, the entire world, the COVID has pushed the entire world to conspire against a classroom learning, we can't do much, but we just, our faculty keeps in touch with the students to make them learn. In fact, the clear mandate to the professor is, if they find that the class is not able to follow what they want to teach, please stick to the subject, take one class, two class more, or take remedials in order to ensure that that concept goes through. We know that it's difficult, but we are trying our best. That's all I can say. Ridham Mehta, if I pronounced it correctly, is distance MBA is good for career? Well, I have spoken about it. So if I have just want to borrow from what I have explained, the last line that I said over there is, if you have similar set of candidates, one with a regular MBA and one with a distance MBA, then definitely regular MBA will be preferred over the distance MBA. So which means that the distance MBA will get lesser opportunities of career growth than a regular MBA. Rishabh Jain, is artificial intelligence skill is helpful in MBA? Well, you need to understand first, a lot of people in this class may not understand what is artificial intelligence, but some things that the brain does is based on what experience we have gathered in life. If all that experience can be put onto a machine of whatever childhood experiences I got, whatever adulthood experiences I got, whatever pre-marriage, post-marriage experiences, whatever pre-work, post-work, different kinds of work, different kinds of people I dealt with, if all those experiences could come together, that could define my brain in a computer, then can the computer take better decisions than what I take in a usual context? It is that realm of artificial intelligence we are talking about. If you already know artificial intelligence as a skill, Rishabh, then you don't need to do an MBA. Please, there are lots of technology institutions which are looking for such relevant skills. At a later stage, once the skill is hot, so try to get that skill. If you've already developed that, go and use that skill in the market. There'll be time for doing MBA, 2 years, 3 years after you have done your, after you have utilized your skill over there. Prateek, sir, what are your thoughts on social shopping or social commerce? Well, I have very good thoughts. But this is, again, a class, an entirely different class where we could speak about social shopping or social commerce. Well, people are trying to give it a name. But it essentially wants to address that people are not meeting. It's all happening on the internet. So I still feel humanity wants or needs more interaction between people because it polishes people's life skills more than when you do everything on the computer. That's my view. And it's important to understand this, that life skill is about getting along with people, interacting with people, doing good with people, performing with people, respecting people, giving them due recognition to the people working for you, because you can never be successful all alone, all by yourself. So when it's people around you, you have to learn those skills of coexisting and performing better and better. More technology, more social media, more computers, more mobiles, and time spent on those is something that is time taken away from building social relationships. That is what I'm not very comfortable with. All right. Excellent, amazing. I'm glad that these words are getting used. Samrita Ghosh. Can we go a little further? Okay. Samrita Ghosh is asking, sir, due to pandemic situation, it's not possible for us for offline courses. So I've done many online certified courses. Will it be considered as valuable courses? Well, people know, I mean, there are lots of MOOC courses, massively open online courses. They are given by even Harvard University, Ivy League universities. So there are a lot of courses that are available online now. A lot of them are actually available free of cost, but if you want a certificate, you have to pay that little more amount and get that certificate. Now, I have gone through at least 6-7 of these online courses. It very clearly helps in clarifying your basic concepts. So there are different levels. For example, for the same subject, there could be a beginner's level 1, beginner's level 2, mid-level 1, mid-level 2, advanced level 1, 2, 3, and so on. So the entire subject, if it is broken into 5-6 subjects, and you are able to do all of them, you can be clearly considered as a master of that subject if you have done those massively open online courses. But disparate courses, एक marketing कर लेते हैं, एक production कर लेते हैं, एक artificial intelligence कर लेते हैं, that will not make much sense. It will only improve your level of understanding about that subject. But if you want to really utilize this opportunity, then you try to create a basket of courses which fit into some skill, whether it's marketing skill or an operation skill or some HR skill. You could easily find within HR skill, if you want to claim, then there will be 15, 20, 30 courses that you have. Pick up courses, carefully and try to do all those courses together. Then you can definitely claim that you have a very good understanding from the open online courses, and that will give you some brownie points. But as I said, if there is a full-time MBA and a person who has only done distance courses and other such courses, then probably the full-time MBA will get a better chance to be there. All right. So I think we are nearing to the end of it now that the pandemic situation has been referred to. My parting words would be, please ensure safety for yourself and for all the people around you by wearing your masks and keeping social distancing, and as far as possible to avoid interacting with people, because you not only have a responsibility of you, but all the people you interact with. Let me share with you. I've lost my cousin this morning to COVID. I'm here because this was a commitment. And I know why all of that happened. Probably he did not give due cognitions when the first time he felt weak or fever. He lived with it for 3-4 days. By the time the lungs were infected highly, and he is no more. Please take good care of yourself. These are tough times, but all those people who come out with experiences that they can count from this period, they will stand out in the crowd. Thank you very much.